Okay, I am going to do an analysis of a socio-political movement in the United States that we call the Christian Right, commonly known as the Fundies. In this first part, I'm going to establish some historical background and try, as the best I can, to pin down some definitions as to what I am talking about. The Christian right is a nebulous group. Like any large group of people, a general definition is difficult to establish. If the definition is too general, then everybody could be considered a member. On the other end of the spectrum, if one establishes a definition that is too specific, then nobody could reasonably be considered a full-time member. This is an analysis of human, social, religious, and political collective behavior, and one has to expect fuzzy lines creating amorphous boundaries. I'll start with an explanation of where I am coming from. I am not, nor have I ever been, a member of a Christian nor a politically conservative organization. Sociologists who study group collective behavior generally concur that there are two types of people to avoid getting information from when studying a particular group: members and former members. The first because they will only give an unrealistically positive view of the organization, and the latter will paint an unrealistically ugly picture of the community that they chose to abandon. In this way, I am one who is quite capable of presenting a completely unbiased and objective view of the Christian right sector of society. But I don't think I'm going to do that, primarily because I am a strong believer of the doctrine of equality, equal rights, and freedom that is intended to guide the United States, and being a good American that I am, I cannot in any way support a political movement that seeks to destroy everything that the United States is founded on and replace it with a repressive theocratic wasteland. So, I will present information that is accurate to the best of my knowledge, but I will also include my own analysis that is a result of my personal beliefs and opinions. This is a YouTube video, not a court case. I represent no one but myself. I am under no obligation to be impartial. I'm not. With that in mind, I'll start to define the specific social political structure that we call the Christian right, religious right, the Fundies, whatever you want to call them. This is a social, religious, and political organization. In order to be a member of this club, there are social norms. One is expected to uphold the established traditional family values. Adults are expected to be married, monogamous, heterosexual, have children, be a member of a religious group, and attend the social gatherings of that group. Males are expected to be employed, they are expected to refrain from drug and alcohol abuse, and generally hold to an authoritarian worldview that is prescribed by the leaders of that group. Individualism is discouraged. Religion. Most members of the Christian right are evangelical Protestants. Though there is a significant overlap, these are not exactly the same as the fundamentalists. The primary distinction between the two is that evangelicals are focused more on proselytizing, the fundamentalists are focused more on practicing what they believe to be the basic principles or fundamentals of Christianity. This difference became more pronounced with the politicization of the Christian right. The Christian right is not limited to evangelical Protestants. There are also other Protestants, Catholics, Mormons, Jews, Muslims, and other religious groups that are involved in supporting the Christian right political agenda, but I am going to be focusing on the evangelical Protestants as they represent the majority of the Christian right. The political aspect of this group is ultra-conservative on all issues, from foreign policy to economics to social issues. In this analysis, I am going to be focusing specifically on three major domestic political issues that are a favorite of the Christian right. Think of it as a trident, that is a three-pronged fork. I have a picture of this red guy who holds a trident. So we'll call that red guy the Christian right. I don't know what his name is, so let's just call him Jerry. Then we will identify the individual prongs of the fork. The first is the anti-choice movement, opposition to abortion. In many cases, this is opposition to abortion under all circumstances. The second tine of the fork is the anti-gay / anti-civil rights movement. This is the opposition to gay marriage and the recognition of gay civil rights and the view that homosexuality is a choice, a sin, a disorder, and something that can and should be corrected. This also includes the opposition to women's rights and the civil rights of any religious or ethnic minority. The third tine of the fork is the anti-education crusade. This is the advocacy of the teaching of creationism in public schools, the opposition to teaching the theory of evolution, and bleeds over into opposing education of other sciences, such as cosmology, geology, physics, psychology, and also the teaching of revisionist history. There are other domestic social issues that the Christian right is quite fond of, and I will discuss those separately because I consider them secondary issues to these main three. And there are those outside the Christian right circle who do support the efforts of one or more of the tines of Jerry's fork. And there are those on the inside who do not support one or more of these tines. I don't need to be presented with counterexamples. I know they exist. I am just going to set them aside for the purpose of proceeding with this analysis.